Hello, hello, hello. We are
Hi.
recording, and you were just telling me
That we have 12 subscribers is what I was saying, Kacey.
that is so fun.
Yeah,
Hello,
and
12
and and
subscribers.
and some tens of people have been listening to the podcast. So thank you everybody for listening. Pass it on, pass it on. I
Yeah,
get a lot of good feedback from our conversations, not just from the information. People like the way we talk with each other, Kacey.
and we can talk. We just talked for a half an hour before we hit record.
We did.
I want you to tell everybody what all the letters after your name mean.
Oh, okay. So I am LPC is licensed professional counselor in Virginia. LSATP is licensed substance abuse treatment practitioner in Virginia. Both of those are important licenses for being able to practice privately. I am a MAC, which is a master addiction counselor. I am an NCC, which is a national certified counselor. So I'll stop there. There is a CSAC, which is a certified substance addiction counselor. A few of these were earlier. The LPC and the LSATP are the ones that enable me to have a private practice and work independently. Yeah.
That's a lot of letters. I have 2 letters. DJ. Those are my 2 letters. I've been on the radio since, 1985. When did you start your practices?
1977, I finished graduate school, moved from Richmond, Virginia, out here to the Valley to take my first job as a therapist with juvenile delinquent boys. And it was in that I came out of a counseling psychology program. It was in the course of that work that I started noticing how many of the young men had charges that were related to alcohol and drugs. And that was 1977. I mean, and or came out of family systems that had alcohol or drugs as a problem. And Kacey, my counseling psychology program I hadn't gotten any courses in that. So I started making it my business to learn equally, to shore up what I understood about alcoholism specifically, and have to weave it into what I know about psychotherapy and psychology. And I think it's been a great path to have both mental health and addictions and understand them, because they're very common to have someone come in, say, for anxiety or depression. And then as I gather family history to find out, oh, there is an addiction somewhere in this story. There is as close as a partner, as close as the person I'm talking to themselves even.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't throw me, it enriches the picture and helps me to figure out how to proceed with goal setting with them.
Sometimes I think that we all have addictions to a certain degree. I had a guest on my show once who called them soft addictions.
Okay.
You know, maybe
Yes.
It's watching too much TV when you know you should be doing something else, or we all have those little food addictions that keep us away from our healthiest. So, yeah, I think when I hear the word addiction, it's to me, it's a spectrum, because I think, we're all on the spectrum, of addictions.
I agree completely. I mean, for me, I could put coffee on it, and even all right. Actually, Kacey, look at my mug. Have we commented about my mug?
Is that not the New York skyline?
It is.
Oh my goodness.
This is my daily coffee mug here at home. I had been up at the book expo, and Monty bought it for me at a Grand Central Station for me before we were leaving. And I love it. So, hey, New York. So anyway.
Oh, that's so great.
And not only is it a coffee addiction, I'm even particular about my coffee. Kacey, I'm aware I'm going to change my light. I keep being good light, bad light. Let's see if that can help. Sorry, everybody. It's specific to a specific type of really good coffee. You could offer me instant coffee out of a jar and I would decline it.
I gotcha.
So
Coffee snob.
soft addictions is a great word, and even particular. Yeah. So here's a soft addiction I picked up on recently, and I'll pass it on for our listeners to hear. I was attending a webinar from the Meadows, which is fabulous treatment center, and they had on the list of process addictions collections. If we are collectors of things, and many of us are, it could be from stamps to baseball cards, I mean, I have this little, it's called Blue Ridge pottery. It's China that's not expensive. And now over the pandemic, I've started noticing it. And as I said, the one treat I give myself is to go to an antique store nearby. And I'm watching for that Blue Ridge pottery. So again, it's the continuum. You said spectrum, I'll say continuum, spectrum, continuum. I want to notice to what extent am I obsessed and to what extent do I feel compelled to keep collecting. Those are important counseling words. Preoccupied, think about it a lot of the time, and compelled is a behavior. We really feel like I'm going to run out right now and go and see if anybody brought some new Blue Ridge pottery to their shops this week.
Wow. We have to do a whole show on that.
All right. That's fine. Duly
Or
noted.
my cousin Lisa. Or my cousin Lisa. She's got collections of everything. I collect Franco Sarto loafers. Franco Sarto. He's not a fancy shoe designer. He's just a shoe designer, makes a nice loafer. At this moment, I think I have like 9 pair.
Kacey, that's so interesting because we are each coming up with things that aren't just super common.
Yeah. Gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it.
Yeah.
My husband lined them up the other night, like, because there's loafers all over the room, and he lined them up like they were walking.
What a good sense of humor.
Yeah, he's a good egg. He's a good egg. All right, today we are talking about the 10 ingredients, Nancy's 10 ingredients of change. And I would like to know, why can't there just be 3? And why can't they be easier than this? 10 ingredients of change. Now we're talking about changing ourselves.
Yes, we are talking about changing ourselves. And, Kacey, this list has evolved in the last several years as I've worked with people. In our field of counseling and addiction, we have what we call stages of change. And I'm going to say them real quick. There are 5 of those. And we could teach them another day. But they are pre-contemplative. You don't know you have a problem. Contemplative, all of a sudden you realize you have a problem and you're thinking about whether you want to do something about it. Preparation, you've decided you do want to do something about it, so you're preparing. And then action, because you're moving out of preparation into action. And then the 5th one that they have in there, they call relapse, meaning we slip out of our healthy action, we assess and we catch ourselves, and we are able to plug ourselves back into making the change that we want. Okay. Those are really important stages, because if I am talking to someone who is only thinking about making a change, and I'm already trying to help prepare them to make the change, we're not going to mesh. I'm already trying to pull them over, and so into the preparation lane. So I want to be paying attention to where the person is at, and whether they're, they may want to just keep preparing and not take action. Okay, but I'm sharing this for our listeners. If you are thinking about making a change, that means you're already in the contemplative. And then you want to study, are you ready to prepare? Or are you ready to take action? Okay. Now, all of that said, as I worked with that, I realized that there were other ingredients, to come back to the 10 ingredients, that are essential as we're working on some change. And, I'll give an example. Because many of us are trying to make changes all the time, Kacey. We're going to lose weight. We're gonna cut down on cigarette smoking. I mean, those are the super easy ones. We're gonna pay our bills on time. We're gonna arrive at work on time. We're gonna leave work on time. Okay, any of those would be a change. Some of the stuff we talk about could be even deeper, but even those types of behaviors would be a change. So we say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go lose weight this week. And we fairly quickly, for the most part, if we don't have enough ingredients, and I'm going to name them here in a minute, that goal, that desire drifts away from us. We have 3 days that are great, and then the fourth day we're off track, and we don't continue with that change that we were making. So I'm going to say for the listeners the 10 of them, and then let's talk about them from beginning on through however far we get today. Yeah. So they are awareness. Yeah. Awareness, willingness, intentionality, self-education. I'm going to explain all of these. Skill building, self-regard, noticing self in the moment. Again, I think we probably won't get to these more advanced ones. The first half are more straightforward. The second half have more to it. So 7 is noticing self in the moment. 8, intervening on our own behalf. And that's a big phrase of mine we will talk about. Spirituality and letting go. That's my phone ringing. It'll go away.
Okay.
So what happened was that in my office, I would realize that somebody was, say, becoming aware that they always have to have the last word in a conversation. Okay. And so they would say, I don't want to be that way because I've lost a friend over it, and my husband and I, get in constant arguments over it. So I'm going to work on my listening skills. And so they will come back and say, well, I blew it. I got all fired up and insisted that I have the last word. And I would say, were you aware that was happening? Mm. And they would go, nope, forgot all about it.
Right. That, when you said the word relapse, when we were talking about just
stages,
that is such a human condition. We do something, or we get a fixin' to do something, and we completely backslide and start again.
Right. All of a sudden, I have a soft serve ice cream cone from McDonald's in my hand.
Exactly that.
And it's like what I thought I started my day was my goal. I didn't even remember. So we're teaching awareness right now. I didn't even remember. So, you know, either I'm tired at the end of the day and I'm like, heck, I'm going to go, you know, treat myself. We're all talk about treating ourselves, which I'm not against. But all of a sudden, I'm not aware. I have forgotten that, you know, and in this case with the person, they were not aware. They forgot what we were talking about in counseling. They forgot about the problems that caused them. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
I'm,
so how do we fix that? Just
oh,
practice?
it's beautiful. You're such a good interviewer, Kacey, because I was about to say the second one is willingness. So we're going to put all of these in a pack. We're going to put awareness and willingness in a package and put a bow on it here today. So to give credit, I learned about willingness through the 12-step programs. It's common language there. You're about to make some changes. Somebody might say, are you willing? Or people might say, I'm not quite willing to do whatever yet.
Right.
And the programs do this beautiful thing of saying, are you willing to be willing? They create a chain. And I know we talked about 12-step language last time. You may be aware of that. We create this chain of willing to be willing. And that's so neat. So as a therapist, so then what happens is this person is in front of me and they say, well, no, I didn't remember it all. Kacey, this is where Nancy's Ingredients of Change really launched, because I was like, then I say to them, are you willing? Are you willing? And sometimes people are offended by that. They're like, I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't, or of course I am. And then, but after they've had this little skirmish at home, I'll say, let's revisit willing. Are you willing to not have the last word? And it's so fascinating because probably about half of the time, all of a sudden, the person will say, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I am
Right.
not sure. Go
And
ahead.
isn't it just okay? I've said this to the women that I work with in my circle.
Yeah.
If you check in with your willingness, and if you're not willing, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over that. If it's
Right.
really important to you,
Yeah.
you may be willing one day. But the best thing you can do sometimes, I think, is to be okay with your unwillingness.
And
Like,
aware of it.
and aware of it.
Aware of it. Right. Yes.
And then forgive yourself. Like, yeah, I see I have something I need to change. And I see that I'm not willing to give up my pizza 3 times a week. So maybe I'm going to wait until I'm more willing to lose the weight.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're saying that as we look at the next couple, and I'm not jumping there yet, can maybe help to assess willing. Sometimes I feel like if we're not willing, we sort of stop there. But listening to you makes me reassess that because, okay, Kacey, let's play with the example you just were giving. They're not giving up the pizza 3 times a week, which is fine. Is this a person, what type of change are they wanting to make, but they aren't willing to give up the pizza? I mean, is it weight loss or healthier eating?
I don't know. I just think that realizing where we are on the path is really helpful. Now I see why you have 10 ingredients, because sometimes if you're, here's what I like to prevent people from doing. You want to move people along the path to self-recovery.
Right.
When I work with women, I want them to stop beating themselves up
Okay.
about wherever they are on the path and just be okay with, make friends with where you're at the moment.
Right.
Right?
And by the way, I do too. I agree with that. In fact, I'll bring in yet another piece from our field called motivational interviewing. MI, it's known as. And it's really about meeting the person where they're at, Kacey. It absolutely is. And I think it's really important. I can't move them down the path any quicker than they are ready to move either. Now, I can provide information and I know where some lights are to show you. And then I know I'm going to have to leave it to you to see which of these ideas you want to plug in, which don't have a place right now, because it is up to the individual.
Yeah.
And motivational interviewing really is doing a beautiful job of really, it's identifying where the person's at so we can meet them there, and then helping to see what might help to move that along a little bit. But we certainly, beating ourselves up, let me go right at that one, is, and you know, being non-judgmental should also be on that list.
Right.
Being accepting where we are, who we are, should certainly, you know, be, I'll put that, to be tidy, I'll slip that under self-education, which was number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Kacey, shall I let me, yeah, let me talk about self-education,
Okay.
number 4, because we're really at that. It really is about learning a lot of the stuff you and I have already covered in some of our first conversations here, about what makes me tick. You know, if I work with eating, if eating is a concern of mine that I want to change, I want to understand in a non-judgmental way, this is self-education now, what my eating is about. You know, is it emotional eating? Is it stress eating? Is it mindless eating? You know, is it filling some emptiness in me? And so the self-education, without us having looked inside and understanding, why do I need to have the last word? For example, let's go back to that example. What is that about? And so to change it, I do want to spend some time through reading, conversations, interactions like you have with women. Counseling is one of the forms. It's not the only form, but we do want to be coming to a non-judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's what it says in here. I don't know. A non-judgmental understanding of myself.
Non-judgmental understanding of myself. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Nancy's 10 ingredients of change: awareness and willingness, self-education, intentionality. What is that?
Yeah, it really, it's an extension of willingness. It's saying, I have decided that I am not going to have pizza in my house. Not only am I willing not to, it's me intentionally saying, I'm going to not bring it in my house. Or, you know, intentionality, I use that word, comes up a lot when I'm working with couples, and they want to spend more time together. And they are aware they don't. They're willing, both of them. You all on audio podcast can't see. My hands are gesturing to the couple coming closer, the two people coming closer. So they're aware they want to come closer. They're willing to. And then they really, I think, intentionality, like, when can we do that this week? Or after dinner, we're really going to put our work aside and make sure we are working on the change that we want. It's creating, it's bringing a lot of awareness to it and doing what we can do to set ourselves up for success.
Right, right. I have to post my intentions all over the house.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I relapse and forget what I'm working on.
Okay. Well, you've said, go ahead, give us some examples,
Well,
Kate.
I don't know when I did this. Might have been, it's a long time, like more than a year. I put the word success all over the house.
Oh, great.
All over the house to seep myself in the idea of getting comfortable with success.
I see.
Success on all levels. I do a lot of events. A lot of events.
Yes.
I was telling Nancy my husband was Santa Claus at one of my events this weekend. I do a lot of events, and I want to have in the top of my mind that this event is going to be a success. And what can I do to make this event a success? So I want success at the top of my mind, because it gets me thinking, what do I need to do to create a success?
Yes.
So that's my intentionality. I put it all over the house, and just to make me feel better so I wouldn't forget where I was headed. Because sometimes when you've got a lot of plates spinning in the air, you can forget that all of these things can have some degree of success. You know, don't go down the rabbit hole of what if this happens or what if that happens. So I put my
Exactly.
intentionality all over the house because I need to see, or I'll forget. I will. I'll forget
Right.
what I'm working on.
Right. No, I mean, because we forget, because we get caught up in our habitual reactive lifestyles of just the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. There's always the next thing. I mean, we should not fool ourselves. The notion of when this is done, then things will be calmer. And so these 10 ingredients, and I'm going to set an intention of just, let's hit the top 5 today, Kacey.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to contain it to those 5 for the listener, because I think the others are really interesting explanations of things. I would rather let the listener take in these top 5. So that's my intention. Kacey, I am, to say losing weight is not accurate. I am on a mission to be fitter, as fit as I can be, under all circumstances. And so I got myself a new Fitbit HR and love it. And it's not Fitbit. If you like my advertisement, you can send some money and do whatever you can to support the Nancy and Kacey show. Here it is. And through it on my phone, I can log food. And so I'm aware, I'm willing, and my intention is really reinforced. I have been logging food now for probably, not obsessively, they make it easy. And I've been doing it for a couple of months now. And it is a way to stay on track. And it's interesting, I can let 2/3 of the day go by and realize I haven't put a thing in there, even though I've been trying to keep it in mind. The device and the doing, everyone knows that logging food is a very good idea if your mission is to pay attention to that. I think without it, I would just be slipping. I would be having seconds, and now I'm not having seconds. That's the shift.
Hey, honey, remember the Christmas you got me a Fitbit?
Yeah.
You got me a Fitbit for Christmas.
I've gotten her all sorts of technical stuff. Okay.
What happened, Kacey? What happened to it?
It's gone.
In a drawer.
It's probably in a drawer somewhere. I'm like, you got me a Fit. What are you trying to tell me?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
One of the guys, he says, one of the guys I work with heard you say on the radio that, oh, you would like a Fitbit. I said, I just had to say that. We were going away or something. So I tried to sound positive. He got me a Fitbit. Yeah.
So it is my way of staying on track, though. And so it includes awareness, it includes willingness, it includes intentionality, and it includes self-education. About some of my patterns.
You should make a Fitbit for mental health.
I know. Well, who could help us with that? I'm sure there are many, aren't there, Kacey? You may have interviewed people creating apps for things.
Not the Nancy Johnston one.
Right. The self-recovery.
The self-recovery disentangle Fitbit for life.
Okay. So if anyone has that idea, it is Nancy and Kacey at gmail.com. Write us. We'd like to hear.
Absolutely.
So
the Fitbit is a great example of a device that helps you with awareness, willingness, intentionality, self-education.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I do think people are using apps for some of that, Kacey, actually. I think I'm showing my age by being, sort of behind in singing the praises of this, but it really has helped me to package those things for myself. It really has.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really terrific.
Yeah. Then the 5th category, to pull it together just for our chat today, is skill building. And any change we want to make may well involve a skill set that we don't have. Let me go all the way back to the person who says, I want to not always have to have the last word. They probably have to cultivate the skill of patience, the skill of waiting, the skill of listening. Yeah. You know, even with healthy eating, some of it is the skill of cooking differently. Or learning where better products are, not more expensive, because I really don't want to make it sound like, you know, I want it to be a financially reasonable proposition. So how can I eat healthy and still eat on the budget that I've got? That would be almost a skill set. Yeah.
You know what what's really sinking in for me right now, and I want everybody to give themselves a round of applause if they've changed anything about their behavior. It takes a lot. It really takes a lot to change a human behavior.
Yes.
It takes a lot, and it takes energy, and it takes focus, and it takes all these 10 ingredients. But it's not, you can't flip a switch. You know, you can't flip a switch. And some things may take, you know, a long time, right?
Right. No, they will. And I think that's why in many changes we're talking about, they use the phrase lifestyle changes. In other words, we really are rerouting, you know, how we do things, what grocery items I do put in my cart, or how I do prioritize exercise. I mean, I don't mind. I'm glad we're, you know, I'm not talking about anxiety and depression, and I can certainly talk that, but these podcasts are for everyone. And so there are simple things that we're all trying to make changes. Exercise is another really good one. Someone was saying to me, their physician had said to consider exercise their prescription that had been written for them. And I think that's excellent. But there is skill building. We have to figure out how to put that in our schedule. Self-education. How do I like to exercise? What is the path for me, you know, that would work? How willing am I to do this? Not really. Okay, well, we got to remember we're not too willing as we fuss at ourselves about, you know. So, yeah, here's the thing, Kacey, I'll add this. The change we're talking about, it really is probably getting into the neuroscience of it and the connectivity, the neural pathways. We really do have habitual ways we think about things, react to things, feel about things. And so the good news is all of that is changeable. Neuroscience is really woven into psychology these days.
Sure.
And yet someone at a conference once was explaining that our habitual old ways are like interstate highways. They're so well worn. And now we're trying to create new ones with our change.
Right.
And it's like, you know, we're weed whacking just to get the basic path going.
Right, just to find the path. Yeah, this is one of my favorite subjects on my show is neuroplasticity.
Yes.
So think about tying your shoes. That's a super highway, right?
Yes.
The neural pathway, how do you tie your shoes? Think about if you had to tomorrow start tying your shoes a different way.
Exactly.
It would
Absolutely.
take a long time to tie your shoes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Until you built that neural pathway, that
Yeah.
link, and then the road gets more well-worn and wider and becomes its own superhighway.
And that's why if we can keep, you know, these 5 ingredients, these first 5 in mind, our awareness. Otherwise, I'm going to jump up and tie my shoe the same way, Kacey. If I don't go, wait a minute now, before I tie my shoe, I'm changing the way I tie my shoe.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And do I really want to learn to do it differently? Willingness is going to keep coming up because I'm sure somebody's going to say, why do I want to learn how to tie my shoe a different way, you know? But then, yeah, all the other intentionality, self-education, skill building.
Right.
And
you don't have to change, but if you're aware of something, there's a little more happiness waiting for you at the end of this road. There,
It is.
I held my adjective. Just road. It's a road.
It is, and it's the journey. And here's the word I want to pick up of yours, and why we're taking this time to look at what does change involve, is that if we want success, it does require that we put thought to these and time and energy to these different variables so that we can be successful. Because very often people feel unsuccessful when they're trying to make a change. And it's possibly likely, Kacey, some of these ingredients are missing. So we're aiming for success here.
Aiming for success. I was telling Nancy earlier, we have a well here at the house, and it broke, and men had to come and do things today. There was hole digging and well fixing, and I'm wondering what these men thought, like when they're going down the basement and there's a sign on the basement door that says success, and then you turn into the laundry room, it says success. Because I don't see them anymore, they don't register, but I bet to the plumbing guys, the well guys, they're like, what the heck is this woman?
That's right. So I bet the listeners are interested, as I am. How's it going with success and feeling it, experiencing it?
I'll tell you this, putting that intention up there, I'm just going to go down this rabbit hole for 1 minute, then we'll come back up. Sometimes, if you're not accustomed to success, it can feel awful.
Yeah.
In my experience, because you're not used to shining, like my foundation is called Let It Shine Ink.
Right.
If you're not used to shining and then you go out and shine, you may come home and get under the covers for a few days. I call it backlash. I don't know what you call it, but I call it backlash. It's like, sometimes when you have success, it's like, well, what do I do with this? So one of the reasons why I put success up all over the house was to just get comfortable with the idea.
Yes,
when you do have it, it's okay to have it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk personally back about that, Kacey. I certainly have times where I say to myself, I couldn't stand to feel any better than I feel now. Now, I'm sure the listener goes, well, what type, that doesn't.
What are you taking?
What's wrong with you? But I think that some of it is sense of self. And we'll get into that. Self-regard is going to be, I think that as I acknowledge and get to know myself and value myself more, it's the deeper level of it that I will be able to enjoy feeling better, even better. Yeah, no, that I couldn't stand to feel any better than I feel now. No, to be clear, I'm still only at a moderate level of feeling good. And I'm like, okay, that's enough. Yeah. And so the other is, I actually have had times where I have felt successful, engaged, it was a good event, whatever. And then it comes in that I feel like I want to disappear. Or that's the go to bed part. I want to sort of be invisible part. And
I have said these words. I want to disappear. I want to be invisible.
Yes. Yeah.
Enough of that. Good.
Yeah. Right. And so enough of that. And I think that we're all, you, me, and everyone working on self-recovery, we also grow into it, of feeling like we don't need to be invisible. For me, and my own awareness, I feel like that's still an area that says of just growth and valuing me.
Right. Yeah. So crazy. I could talk about this forever. When you do use all these ingredients, because you do need them all, and you make a change, you may be like, what?
That's right. So
go back to being less aware.
So let's see. Maybe we'll leave it at this. I'm looking in the book, folks, and number 6 we'll pick up on.
Awareness, willingness.
We'll do self-regard.
Self-regard.
Yeah. It gets into caring about ourselves, not caring for ourselves, caring about ourselves.
Okay, very good. So we'll finish up the 10 ingredients next time. And also, I think I don't have a calendar in front of me, and I'm so visual. I don't even look at my.
That'll be the 14th is our next Monday.
Okay, and then are we going to meet on the 21st?
Either way, it's fine with me.
Because I would like to just break our schedule, and on the 21st, could we talk about getting through the holidays?
Absolutely, Kacey. Guide us. Yes, please, let's do. Yeah, what does self-recovery looks like in, what's that?
I'm looking for you to guide us. I want you to tell us how to get through the holidays.
You guide the conversation.
Okay.
Now, what we want is how do we have good self-recovery in the midst of all that goes on, even with a COVID Christmas?
A COVID Christmas, yes. All right. So next week it's the other 5, and then we'll do how to make it through the holidays, because we're all going to need support. We are going to need support through this holiday season.
Right.
And that, okay, I'm looking forward to that. Now,
I could chat on already. I want
to ask you about your cardio. Are you getting enough cardio?
Yeah, I walk. Part of it is that I walk, and I got an HR on my Fitbit. Again, Fitbit.
I don't know what that
sponsor us. What's that?
What's HR mean?
Heart rate.
Oh, heart rate.
Heart rate. And we live on a creek at the river, and the hill rises from here. So I do cardio by walking up the road and watching how my heart rate goes up. And it's just a rural road. And so the hills give me the inclines.
Good. All right. Because I was going to suggest I have the little 30-minute cardio video I do. It's called Fabulous 50s.
Well, you can email it to me. Send me a link.
Say hello to Tucker.
Oh, hi, Tucker. Hi, sweetheart.
He's so adorable. Well, he was sleeping in the chair next to me, and then he put his little face on my leg.
Well, I think he likes our show.
I think he does too. I think he needs a lot of help and change. You could make him change to stop biting the neighbors. That would be great.
Is he aware? Is he willing?
I don't know. Are you willing to change, Tucker? Such a good boy.
Send us your votes. Does Tucker look ready to change?
He's got the bark collar on. He barks, he growls, but he's cute. God made him cute.
He's lovable.
As are you, my friend.
And so you.
Have a wonderful week down along the James, and I'll take care of the Hudson up here.
All right. Sounds good.
I'll see you next time.
You bet. See you next Monday, Kacey. Bye-bye.
Bye.